Fitin10 Nation, welcome to day 60, and we officially got 10 days to go. Martina.
How exciting.
Yeah, starting tomorrow, we're into the single digits in terms of days left, but every day counts, and so you want to keep putting one foot in front of the other. Remember, we talked a little bit about positive reinforcement in last day's video. It's not so much the aspect of doing everything perfectly every single day, but if you sabotage or the more you deviate, sort of the less reinforcement that we get that you're capable of doing it. Now, obviously you're capable of doing it. Everybody's capable of doing it, but when you see these mistakes that you make, then it can have a negative impact in terms of self-belief and in terms of like, what's the point of doing this whole thing, which tends to happen with people, right? If they have a weak point and they fall off their diet, that next meal they might just say, well, you know what, I messed up on that first one. I'm just gonna, what's the point? I mean, I might as well have another one. And then it just, right? So.
Right. Because one may not make a difference, but 2 and 3 will certainly do. And that's like one step forward is quite hard, but 2 step back is easy.
Yes, well, everything will make a difference, right? And then I think that's really the key here. And it's never too late to turn that ship around, so to speak, right? It's never too late to be like, okay, that's done. I'm going to continue to move forward.
I know, and I think it's that actually that ability makes you successful.
Yes.
The ability to snap out of it.
Yeah. All right, Martina, let's get on to, well, actually, you know,
I want to talk about special.
Yeah, something happened. This has happened multiple times in my life, but it just recently happened. So I thought I would speak about it because it's all too so common.
Yes.
And that is, I was at my hairdresser and she's cutting my hair and she begins to tell me how she's taken her kettlebells and she's put them away because, quote, she was getting just too big. And so I want to remind you that, and this is going to sound a bit ridiculous, but I need to drive this home, that no form of exercise will make you fat. No form of exercise is going to put fat on you, because people tend to say to me, I'm getting too big, I'm getting too bulky. And, you know, ultimately with resistance training, the only thing that can happen in terms of adding tissue to the body is building some lean skeletal muscle mass, which, by the way, I want to remind you is going to be a little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah,
like you're not going to put on a lot.
Yeah. No.
And where does tenacity come from, Martina? When people say, I want to get toned, what is that?
Well, you got to get lean.
You got to get lean, but what else? Let's say we just keep body fat levels the same, we add muscle.
Oh yeah, for sure. You're going to get toned.
You're going to look more toned. You're going to look leaner. Your body fat percentage is going to drop. It will literally drop. Why? Because your percentage of fat to muscle has changed. Yeah. So it is in your interest to have some muscle mass.
Absolutely.
But let me just finish the story. Sorry to cut you off. 5 minutes later, literally, her partner comes out, well, another hairdresser comes out and says, I'm going to be ordering in some, literally, I'm not making this up, some McDonald's. Okay, it wasn't whatever, it wasn't Nando's, or it wasn't, you know, yeah, it was literally McDonald's. And she says, do you want it? And she says, oh yeah, I'll get this and this and this. So I said to her, I said, you just told me that you put away your kettlebells because you're getting to, and you're eating
McDonald's.
If you want to get lean, you've got to do the resistance training, you know? And this is one thing that people tend to forget, is that when you build that muscle mass, you're making the investment in terms of an engine that's going to burn fat.
And you're wanting to talk about sugar as well, right?
Well, so, you know, there's a couple aspects here with the resistance training. So there's the muscle mass. And if anybody catches some of the shorts that are on our channel, you know, one of the things I just mentioned recently on a short was, aside from your essential organs, your muscle mass consumes more energy than any other tissue in your body. So, you know, the more muscle mass you have, the more calories you can essentially get away with eating.
Ta-da.
So, yes. And so there's that aspect, but there's also the aspect of, especially as we age, we are losing muscle mass, we're losing strength, we're losing bone mass. Our hormones are declining, There are so many negative aspects to aging that are going to be reduced if you
have more muscle.
Yes, if you resistance train
Never
in
mind.
particular, right?
Yes.
If you
to have the muscle.
if you resistance train.
Yes.
Resistance training is not going to make you fat, okay? It's not going to do anything other than make you look leaner. The only thing that will make you fatter or bigger, I mean, even weight training is actually going to make you smaller because muscle's more dense than fat tissue.
Indeed.
So if you replace all your fat with muscle, you're a smaller person. You are going to be, in fact, less bulky.
If you have more muscle.
You are only going to get bulky if you gain fat. You are only going to gain fat if you
Eat McDonald's.
Yeah, if you overconsume calories. And you know, that overconsumption is going to be very easy if you're eating things like McDonald's. And one other thing, Martina, I want to mention on this topic. So there's a study that came out a couple years ago, and I'll just cut to the chase and I won't make this too sciencey, but when you train specifically with heavy weights, your muscles release something called exerkines. They're basically messaging molecules that go directly to fat and promote lipolysis. Literally, when you weight train,
You burn fat.
you burn fat. So this particular mechanism that I'm talking about does not happen with cardiovascular work. It's happening with short-term, high-intensity resistance training, meaning heavier weights. So you know, another bonus there. One more thing I want to mention on this, because I really want to drive this home, is when you have more muscle mass. Well, actually, there's something else I just thought of too. When you have more muscle mass, you have more real estate for sugar.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier. Yeah.
Right, so when you mentioned sugar.
Sugar,
So
yes.
thank you for that, yes. So when you have more real estate for sugar, you have less chances of developing diabetes or pre-diabetes, which is one of the fastest growing, or might be the fastest growing lifestyle-related disease that's out there. Again, another reason to weight train, but with more muscle mass, you have more real estate for sugar. You're either going to excrete sugar, which obviously you don't want that to happen. That's really what happens when you're diabetic.
Yeah.
Your body just can't, you know, essentially if your blood sugar levels rises too much, it becomes toxic.
Mm-hmm.
So it's either got to store it in
The liver.
the liver
Or
the muscle,
Mhm.
or we gotta take that to fat, essentially. So with more muscle comes more real estate to store sugar. You are better able to manage blood sugar levels.
indeed.
And one more thing I want to say, I did touch upon this, your hormones, okay? Whether we're talking about testosterone or estrogen or growth hormone. With weight training, we are better, or we are elevating the levels of these hormones, right? Or we're better managing these hormones. Let's look at it that way with weight training. So, and Martina, I somehow managed to eat up all of our time on that one subject. And I feel like I talked that whole time.
Listen, this was such a good one, Renee, because you've never started to exercise and put on weight because you were exercising. It's completely ridiculous.
So again, if you're worried about being, quote, bulky, whatever that means, watch your calorie intake. Okay?
We should have started with that.
Yeah, that's basically what we're saying. Weights are not the fault of this.
Bring back the weights.
Bring back the weights. All right, message of the day here, Martina. Do you want to read this out?
Sure. The day you plant the seed is not the day you eat the fruit.
That's right. The day you plant the seed is not the day you eat the fruit. You have to be patient. Whether you're trying to gain muscle or you're trying to lose fat, it's ongoing. It's not a short-term thing. So it's lifestyle based, and you need to be patient. And you have to look at what you've accomplished in a short period of time, which that could be like maybe 10 weeks. That's not a long time. I want to remind people 10 weeks is not a long time. And you know what the possibilities can be through, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years. How long have you been doing this for?
17 years.
17 years. How long have I been doing this for?
I don't know. Between 20 and 30.
A long time. I don't want to say it, but it might be longer than what you even said. So, all right. Positive energy, positive vibes, believe in yourself for the love of God, give some gratitude, and we'll talk to you all in a couple days.